heat of stuff. And so I just had breakfast, Mexican breakfast, and I ate way too
Sounds
much.
good. We're live now. We're live now. So
Okay,
this
cool.
is Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. Today is March 7th already, 2024. I'm here with the real, the one and only John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing so great, and you're so appreciated, Sue. Everybody loves you. I've been sharing, and everybody has nothing, but good to say about you. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Same
And
here. Same here.
let's make this world, let's make it history.
Yeah. I,
And
I, I want to let you know how supported you are. Now, there's always going to be haters and disbelievers out there. You'll never get rid of them, probably. But most of the people that I work with, we're here trying to help you heal your body, your emotions, and all of that. And we want to get the story out. So many of us have been out here, spreading the word for you. All right. So you've got a team at your disposal.
oh, it's so appreciated.
Yeah.
Smarty sent me a box of gifts. Way cool guy. Um, Even a sweatshirt jersey type thing. Just awesome gifts. But he's got the little stickers and things that make you feel better. Robin's been putting them all over everything. But I can honestly say the last 2 months
Yeah.
of my life, if you look at my videos on TikTok, there's one that's got over 500,000 views.
Yeah.
I look like death warmed over in that video. Um, I'm feeling better. People say I'm looking better. My heart, I got a call from the doctor. I think it's been 2 weeks now, and said my heart went from 30% up to 55%. Um, so that's making me feel better too. But
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of support, a lot of prayers, a lot of
Yeah.
loves. It's awesome. I am. I'm feeling much better, and people can tell by the videos I made 6 months ago.
Yeah. Well, by having the Holotech products physically around you, that will bring up your vibration, that will make you feel good. And we are actively healing. So on the cover of the book that you've written, we can use this photo. So Jedis, if you've got the book, please start doing the healing process if you're not already. But I've been using the picture here as well as your video to work on you. So with all of us working on you and these products, you're going to notice that you feel better, 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 better.
Um,
The products work with frequencies, healing frequencies.
I was thanking Smarty, that's not the one, for this right here.
PTSD.
And yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
And because I have it, I've called it the 1,000-yard stare. Ever since I was young, because when you're in the military and people want you dead, you're looking in the treetops, you're looking in the windows, you're always looking for somebody that wants to kill you. And I've dealt with that my whole entire life, every day of my entire life. And so just having this, it's like a military dog tag to me. Just
Yeah.
having it
Yeah.
makes me feel more secure. Just him saying that helps with it. But I
Yeah.
got to share this with you. I got to get out here for a second. This is actually hanging on the wall in my, it's my book, but
Yeah.
I put that. If you can see it, I can't tell, but
Yep. It's perfect.
this is hanging on my wall, and
Yeah.
just that right there makes me feel better.
Right. Right. So that is how we're doing the healing. Like if you're not physically there, or we'll use a picture, and then we put the Holotech products, the healing wands and the other products that Smarty sent us on your picture, and they know where to send the frequencies for healing. So that's a perfect, what you're doing is perfect. And you're going to notice you feel better, you look better, you feel better, you look better. And it's beautiful because we'll be able to document it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Right.
Um,
I just wanted to introduce the book. So for those that don't have the book, it's called Stolen Identity, which is a perfect name for what happened to you, by John F. Kennedy Jr. So $20 at Barnes and Nobles or Amazon. And it's an easy to read book, meaning it's not rocket science, but the contents are hard to read. they're hard to hear because what you went through was horrible.
Yeah, a lot of it, um, of course, isn't in my book. Um, I can't write. Um, I ran a truck driving school, and I was in charge of the truck driving school, but I couldn't do the paperwork. And I had a secretary, a couple actually, and I would say, "Hey, this is what I need," and they would do it for me
Right,
because I was tortured. I was abused. Um, Once I tried to write a note, to get help, it was like, "I'm John Kennedy Jr. I've been kidnapped," and I was beat that day in the bathroom and thrown on the floor and kicked. I thought I was dying. But the whole time I was being kicked, they were saying, "You're never going to write anything ever again." But it mentally, so I couldn't write my own book. And Jackie um, Goldman, ghostwriter from New York, called me. We did a video chat, and she said she would help me, and it wouldn't cost me anything. And I was like, well, let's do it. So we spent many, many hours. So it's been translated through another individual, and much, much stuff has been left out. Some of the stuff I don't even like talking about, some of my eyewitness things that aren't in there. Um, but yeah, so I'm just letting everybody know it's me talking to someone else and then them putting it into words
right,
for me.
right,
Um, my version would probably be more hardcore than what Jackie put in there about all the murders and things that I've, a lot of stories aren't in there. Calaveras County, um, many, many stories of things they had me do as a child and what they have others do. Um, I just hope, my book gets to people and they'll want to share it. Um, it means a lot to me to get this out because there's a lot of other victims. I get people asking me every other day or sharing their stories of their lost loved ones, and I'm not in the position to help. And it really tears me up when I read someone that comment, "I need your help," and I can't help them. Maybe someday we can unite and get this out where I'm not, just sitting here in a trailer house.
right,
you know, but
right.
I wish I could do more, let's say, than we can, and we need to do more
Well,
because our government is a criminal organization, and they do things like they did exactly like they did to me to others. One thing I always think about that's haunted me is when my mother Jackie was shot in front of me, and I was had a gun pointed at my head by a couple of federal agents and thrown into a station wagon and ordered on the floor while my mom was dying, bleeding all over the ground. But there was a little girl, and this little girl was also thrown in the station wagon and told to get on the floor with me. I didn't know the girl. I had just met her, but she was younger than me. And to this very day, just that one scene, I don't know what they did with my mom's body and all this, but I have no idea who that girl was. Um, if she lived through it, because I was rescued by a federal agent, an armed federal agent, and taken out of the situation, but it was just me and him. He didn't take the girl with us.
right,
And it's like we left her behind, and there's nothing I can do, or don't know who she was, or if she's alive to this day. But a lot of messed up um, things that I have no control of.
right.
But I'm sharing, and hopefully it'll grow, and we can help more people.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to ask the viewers, like, first of all, to read this book, Stolen Identity, if they don't already have it. And secondly, go to your libraries and ask them to purchase the book for others to read. Pass the books out to those that haven't read them and that might be interested. It's really kind of the basis for what we're talking about. It explains many of the stories. And it is, like I said, it's not, the stories are hard to read. And what you've just told us, John, is that you've dumbed them down. You've left out a lot of detail. And it's even not all the stories or of course the names, but it's very hard to read. So for those that don't know, obviously, John was the son of President Kennedy, who was murdered in broad daylight in front of the world in 1963. John was 3. And then he was eventually put into a kind of a witness protection program, which was horrible. And it was filled with organized crime, communities, drugs, kidnapping, human trafficking, and murder. Anything you can think about that's horrible, they did. All right. So within years, John, your entire biological family was basically, they were all murdered and then they were replaced with doubles, as was John. So the one that we know as John was not him, obviously. Here he is. And the one that we know as John was killed in 1999 in that plane crash. And our John here has been tortured, kept in poverty, and almost murdered too many times to even count or mention, right? And you've also been kept, not only have you been kept in poverty, but you were drugged all the time. And you were kept in a program called MK Ultra. So basically they put a chip in your head and they tortured you. And from what I understand, they show horrible negative pictures, and it's kind of like hypnosis in a very negative way. They splinter your personality. And so many of the stories happen when you're under MK Ultra. You witness murders, you're involved with all sorts of very unsavory people, and you've seen a lot. Now, you were also involved with Hollywood, so you've had, connection with both political celebrity, if you will, Hollywood celebrity, and all sorts of people like we would call famous. So the story's an amazing story, right? Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah, my Hollywood career, the name they gave me was Richard Steele, the Hollywood name.
Right.
And I had just learned that I am, it was a real famous movie. With six, you get an egg roll. It was with Doris Day. But I Googled it because I wanted to buy the poster. And I'm actually on, as a child, on the poster from Finland and the regular movie poster. So hopefully one day I can buy the big movie poster, but I'm on there as a child.
Right.
Several there's a gal on TikTok named Jody that's been pulling all this stuff up, sharing the little
Right.
clips of all
Yes.
the, I mean, My Three Sons, Green Acres, Adam 12, many, many others that, they had me put on. One, they put a John F. Kennedy 50-cent piece on my head. That's the way organized crime, that, it's like a slap in the face. They're going to put
Right.
my daddy's coin on my head while I'm in a movie, or a, sick or show. Hollywood does that.
Right.
But I'm on the show One Adam 12. And the man that stole my identity, Richard Steele, you can see I'm like 8 or 9 years old on Adam 12. Clearly see I'm a little kid. But if you Google Richard Steele, he would have been 15, I believe, 15 or 16 years old at that time. And
Right.
it's like anybody with eyes can see that little kid, me, and stuck in there is not 16 years old.
Right. Right.
They don't mind about the age difference. And I think they do it to throw people off. The name they gave me, David Keith Quigley, my birthday that they gave me is January 15th, 1966. So there's a 6 year difference between my real birthday and the one they gave me on paper, my birth certificate. And Dorothy Quigley, when I was in Clovis, California with Quigley's, everybody was always having birthdays except me. They never gave me a birthday. They just kept feeding me a handful of pills that would give me a migraine at the end of the day. A lot of it, I believe, was to stunt my growth and make me forget. There's a lot of drugs out there for mental disorders that they can make you forget by drugs.
Right. Right.
And they were giving me they called it the vitamin regiment every day. It did give me nasty migraines at the end of the day. By the time I got off the school bus, I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything but go lay down in bed and go to sleep and try to get rid of the migraine. Um, but yeah, I never got a birthday. And I was like, why aren't I getting a birthday? Everybody's always having birthdays, but that's one of the tactics that they use. These people are the biggest crime organization in the world, the most advanced, the most powerful. They have all the money in the world and all the resources in the world. Um, and people, well, I didn't read about that, or I didn't hear about that on CNN or Fox or anything. It's because they don't advertise we killed this
Right,
person and
right,
stole this much money, or we killed this person and replaced. They don't advertise. I'm sharing what I have learned. A lot of it personal eyewitness accounts. And I was sharing some. I was sharing a story about my brother, my step brother, Alexander Onassis, how he died in my arms of a gunshot wound to the head. I saw him shot. I can tell you what the gun looked like. I can describe everything, him dying and lifeless in my arms while they're pulling the wreckage of the plane apart. And then I'm explaining all that in a video, and somebody says, well, that's not true because he died in the hospital of a plane injury 2 days later. But people don't realize they only get part of the truth. Um, Aristotle Onassis was a billionaire. He ran things, that could tell judges and government officials what to do. He had that much money and power because if they didn't do what he said, he would have them killed. He was that powerful. So he doesn't advertise he had a child through his mistress. They keep it because kidnapping and that kind of thing is common with billionaires. It's common practice. It's how our secret societies work to get people to pay up and every other thing. So they don't advertise. So when people give me comments like that, I don't believe you because it's like, hey, you believe me or believe the stories you heard, but I was an eyewitness. But many comments that just get
yeah,
me going.
yeah. Well, there's always going to be haters out there until there's not. But I know that, we've talked before, and you have you're willing to take DNA test and all of that. That's not the problem. So that will prove or disprove your lineage. But the problem is getting a non-corrupt and honest person to give you the results of the test. Right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. You don't need any interferences or blockages for that test. And, you're willing to do it. It's just you need to make sure the path is clear for honesty, right?
Yeah, I just did a show well, not last week, the other day with Jesse Hall on the missing link. And I was talking about DNA tests. I've actually taken 4 DNA tests. I just took one a few days ago. Um, that's because there's a gal that was on Aristotle Onassis Island. When I was on the island, um, I had 3 or 4 sisters, and I think they did that to mess with my mind.
And you
Um,
mean doubles in this case,
yeah,
people posing as your sister.
right. These all these girls showed up, and they were like, "This is your sister. This is your sister." And I think those girls ended up getting trafficked, probably sexually trafficked. But one of the girls came to me and said, "Hey, I might be your half sister." So I just took another DNA test. So we'll find out about that. But we purchased DNA from my father and mother. I don't know if it's real, but we bought it saying it was authentic of John F. Kennedy Jr.'s DNA. And I'm not going to announce it. I'm going to try to do it the sneakiest way I can by hiring a scientist.
Yep.
We actually came to the goal and raised $6,000 to hire a private scientist. And people say, well, what about those results? You ain't gonna know till I know. I'm gonna see if they can. This is making history, so I'm gonna try if they can videotape everything in secret. Um, how I find it and who I find it and get. I'm not gonna tell anybody. I want it secret. But
Right.
I've already shared it because we raised,
Right.
GoFundMe money for it. But I'm done talking about that one. As
Yeah.
far as when, how, where, and why,
Yep.
um, maybe someday I'll just ride off on my motorbike for a few days and come back with some test results. I don't know.
Well, most of us are not billionaires, so we don't understand all the what happens when you get lots of money. But it sounds very cutthroat, and it sounds like you can't even trust your bodyguards or whatever because they can be flipped at any time.
Yeah,
And
don't trust anybody.
yeah,
Um, Nobody, because
yeah,
there's always somebody that'll take the money. I've learned that.
yeah. So we talked a little bit about your mother's death already, like that, that should be later in the story. You were about 15 when that happened. And I guess my comment would be, how convenient was it that there were two agents that just happened to be there mysteriously when she was shot and killed? And this other girl, like, where did she come from? Like, how did she end up on the property? Did she come with them?
No, she was actually there that day, and she was sitting on a picnic table. And I had there was a couple other people there at the picnic table earlier that day, and I was just like, "Hey, how's it going?" But why she was actually there and kidnapped that day, also, I don't know. But there was more than two. Um, there was two that actually shot my mom and were armed. When I was getting um, thrown in the station wagon, I looked over. There was a white pickup truck that pulled right up next to and I got a glimpse of it right up next to my mom's body, like they were going to hurry up and throw her in the back of the truck. But my guess is there was, more than three. There was, they're organized. There was probably, one sitting, down the road with a walkie-talkie, and
Yeah.
I've seen how they work, but my guess, it was a planned hit. There was probably six or seven of them at least.
Yeah, so it was already organized. They conveniently had the truck, they had everything set up. And of course, you were just going about your business when that happened. And then somebody, basically what happened is they held you at gunpoint, took you to the police station and tried to make you sign a document saying that you murdered your mother. And
Yeah, I was in tears. I wanted to rip them apart, but yeah, very emotional at that, thinking,
yeah,
remembering that at that time. I thought they were going to kill me for not signing it. I refused not to sign it. And they were sitting there going over paperwork, laughing about how much money they had just made by killing her. But the
you were
minutes
saying that in
prior,
front of you. They said that in front of you.
right in front of me at a desk, there was like three desks. Um, and I was sitting in a chair, right off from one of the desks. One agent was at the back desk, one agent was at the front desk. The agent that was at the front desk, had the paperwork for me to sign, called me over, sat me in front of it, and I refused to sign. I think they just said, "Well, we'll just kill you, then get rid of you." But the other agent went back, and I seen him shuffling the papers, saying, "Yeah, look what we just got, all this money." So it was actually um, finances on paper, probably real
Right,
estate, property, things like that.
right.
Um, but yeah, that day, see, I had a little camper trailer that Jackie had put in the campground right there. If you've seen my video where the anchor is right at that spot my mom was killed. But we were actually in the gas station, me and my mom, and she was like, "I want to start a new life with you. Um, we can start over here in Bullhead City, Arizona." And we were actually talking about, getting away from all the organized crime and just trying to have a little civil life. She was talking about me working in a gas station, for Christ's sake, just stay on the down low. And 2 minutes later, I was getting taken away. I heard the gunshots, and just the little plans like she had, just
Yeah,
to get away from it all.
yeah. It's like you can't escape, you know, and none of your family really did escape. And so we've already talked about this before. Your mother already had a double, even when she was in the White House. There was a double, basically attending events or whatever, I assume.
Yeah, she probably had a couple.
Yeah. Was it because she was shy or she didn't have enough time? Why do you think she had a double back then?
A lot of it's because the Secret Service.
Oh,
and their control. They say it, it's to throw people off. One Jackie will be here, another Jackie will be there with body doubles. But what I've learned is just, they get the body double in place and then kill the original and
yeah,
use the body double to siphon off all the funds of
right,
the other person.
right. And
I mean,
so,
it gets real deep, but once you understand what I'm saying about the body doubles and the money behind it, it's like they say we're gonna, a bit, just any billionaire or anyone with, a ton of money, they convince them that, oh yeah, we're doing it for your own good, for your protection, just like, the mafia and the protection racket. But
yeah, they
it
create the
goes down to,
problem.
we're going to steal your identity, we're going to steal everything you got, but we're going to tell you we're protecting you.
Yeah, they create the problem, then they give you the solution, which is horrible,
And
right?
I had been kidnapped, and I know it was for extortion money, through Jackie or Aristotle or, the Kennedy family. But I had, it was almost like a game.
Yeah,
I was kidnapped. Some of it ain't even in my book, the things that they did. The dog cage one is in the book, I believe.
right.
But yeah, there was, I don't know if Jackie put that. I don't even like reading my book.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
teared up
they're
when people are sharing it. But I was kidnapped probably a few times more than that's even in the book. And it's just a game to the people in government.
yeah.
They get somebody that doesn't want to pay up, or they need, money, kidnap the family members.
And these are basically agents that are supposed to be, protecting you or watching over you.
Right.
Yeah,
Our FBI is bad. I personally found out that, by going to the FBI several times for help.
right.
Our Secret Service, they're controlled just as bad, and I believe our CIA is even worse. Um, they can do anything they want. And like a Secret Service agent, it is law. You can't charge a Secret Service agent for a crime. You can't do it. They are untouchable. Um, you can't. They can get away with murder, and they do.
Right, right. Well, all those three letter agencies have corrupted their power. They've stepped outside the line so many times. And just the fact that these agents are kidnapping you, beating you, extorting you, for getting the money, killing your mother, it's inconceivable. And see, and we also have to set the scene. This is in the 60s and 70s. So the population didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have an easy way to take a picture. You had to go develop a picture, right? So we didn't have instantaneous access to information like we do now.
Oh, I remember when video cameras first came out, when they would be doing a job, and I was brought along. Always paranoid about, a video camera down the street could have caught them, or, make sure the one at the bank was shut off
Yeah,
just because they didn't want to see their cars being drove down the road. But, that now we got the internet. Back then there
yeah.
wasn't anything they could do. They could block off a whole street and nobody would ever know.
Yeah. I'll
um
watch an old movie and I'm like, well, what about the cameras? And I'm like, oh, they didn't have them then. But now they're literally on every street corner. They're in every major building. Everybody has them at their front door. I mean, and everyone has their phone. So everything is recorded, you know? And so I won't say it's easier to get away with stuff because, but you have to think about that camera faction or ability, and you have to be a little smarter, than you did back
yeah,
then.
these guys that are doing it are the Secret Service, and
Right.
they
Yeah.
want to stay secret, so they take every precaution to
Right.
to stay secret.
Right. So one of the things we had talked about before is, killing your father in public like that is they did it that way because they wanted the world to see so they would not bring a double back, right?
Exactly.
So basically it was a one and done thing.
Just
And
like Bobby, when he
yeah,
was killed in front of all those people.
yeah,
They do that because identity theft is so huge in organized crime.
right.
um that's to me, that's why they did it, because now my father was gone in 63. He wasn't coming back. But if he was killed in the White House, or if he was poisoned in his sleep, or any other thing like that, they would have made a new, I would have had a new father,
Right,
because they got to hold on to that power. He was the
right.
president of the United States. They wanted him to lose all power of presidency that day. Um, if you've seen the movie Dave, there's a movie that explains the whole thing of identity theft with the president of the
Yeah,
United States. The movie's called Dave. You know my
yeah,
first name.
yeah.
It's crazy, but
Kevin
watch that
Kline.
movie, because
Yeah,
that's exact, and they're telling you right
yeah,
exactly how they do it.
yeah. They hire an actor to play the president, and because the president dies of like a heart attack or whatever, and only a few people know that he's not the real one. It's a good movie, actually.
Yeah, it's a fun little movie, but it in reality explains exactly how
Yeah.
they take over somebody's identity.
And we've seen that now that like most of us watching this know have looked around at entertainment, music industry, politics. We're seeing the doubles come out like crazy. Like they're either people in masks, they're clones, they're androids, whatever it is, doesn't matter. We know that they're not the originals. And then they seem to have all of a sudden their music is different and they do this different and they do that different. But everyone is so excited that they're on stage or whatever. They don't think that this isn't the original, you know?
Yeah, and they got really good at putting somebody on stage and having them lip sync a few songs,
Yeah.
just for the, you know, the money that
Yeah.
they're making.
The
They can't they
money
can't
and
stop
control.
that $200-300 a ticket,
Yeah.
fee to come see somebody lip sync.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when that person isn't even remotely the same person. It's like there's one I'm thinking of now that's not even a woman, it's a man playing the part, and it's like people are going insane for this person. I'm sick of hearing it, and I'm just trying to keep out of it because it's just a waste of my time to argue with them. But it's very, very prevalent. So we're seeing, like we see masks, and the mask capability is much more sophisticated than we are aware of. And then, of course, there's doubles. You talked about plastic surgery before. There's clones. There's all sorts of ways that they can get a look-alike into
Yeah,
identity.
they still I was, watching a few videos over the last few weeks. The silicone mask technology they go out, I slip it over and 5 seconds later you
Yeah,
couldn't tell.
it's shocking, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it sure
especially when
is.
they're in the upper echelons of our political system, you know who I'm talking about. Like it doesn't seem fair. And also, like we all know it, but why don't the people that can change it know or do something about it? Well, they're all in the same club. So organized
They're
crime,
making that paycheck.
yeah, it's very
And a
big.
lot of the Secret Service agents, and I keep saying, you people that are you Secret Service agents that are willing to die, because I was trained to be a Secret
Yeah,
Service agent.
yeah,
Um, I was taught to die, literally die, to protect the president of the United States, whether it's jumping in front of a bullet to protect him. And I keep thinking about that and how I was taught to don't even think, just respond to jumping in front of a bullet, a gunman, just the training of that. And it's like, for a Hollywood actor,
is
so you Secret Service agents, wake the hell up. You're putting your life on the line for a Hollywood actor and to protect organized crime and their secrets of identity theft. So you should probably just resign and go find another job now. And
yeah, yeah.
on your resignation letter, just tell them you're tired of the bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. So last time we had talked, you had mentioned some names, and I don't want to get you into any further trouble, but if you want to explain like your experience as much as you're able to say, that would be really interesting. And the first one I wanted to ask about was Charles Manson. And like just say what you won't get in trouble for, okay?
Um, Charles Manson, by what I remember, you got to remember I was a child.
Yeah,
Charles Manson was a part of the 13-member family. But as a child, I remember Charles Manson lived on a Hollywood movie set. The property he lived on was property of Hollywood where they would do movies. Well, in this movie set, and this is just going by memory and it's foggy, but on that movie set, there was some jail cells. In those jail cells was a couple of women, and I was actually thrown as a child in one of those jail cells on Charles Manson's property. Charles Manson had something to do with the movie industry or whatever. But we actually, I think it might have been Fresno at the time when I was still real young, Fresno, California. I'm just going to say it was Fresno, but I don't know if I was under MK Ultra or was just told to go stand out on the street. But me being a child and being 6 or 7 years old or however old I was, I went out to the street. Um, Cars would go by and I would stick out my thumb like I was hitchhiking. Why I did it, I don't know. I just did it. I was out on the street as a kid hitchhiking.
Because kids are
Um,
stupid.
a white van, and this is me remembering back,
Right.
50 plus years. But there was a white van that pulled up, and one of the guys in the white van got out, and I believe it was Steve or Victor. Um, but Charles Manson was driving, and they told me to get in the van. While they were telling me to get in the van, my sister Deborah at the time ran out of the house, started running towards me, yelling and screaming, and grabbed me by the arm and started dragging me back to the house, all hysterical. What the hell are you doing? But these two men at that time, and I do believe to this very day, one of them was Charles Manson, working with a federal agent trying to kidnap me. So um, I don't know 100%. All I know is Charles Manson was working with our CIA or Secret Service and trying to kidnap me for extortion money that day.
All right. So do you think that they knew who you were when they
Oh
pulled
yeah.
up on you then? All right. And you said there were jail cells in the house that he lived at, like they were like,
Well, it was like a movie set
yeah.
by what I remember. So there was like the prop buildings and everything, but one of those prop buildings was a little like jail for making films for TV of jail, like Gunsmoke when you'd go in there and they'd have the jail cells
Yeah,
put in
yeah,
there.
yeah. But were they like, if you were in them, could you get out? Like you said, you were in one of them. Were you locked
No,
in?
you were actually locked in.
And you said there were women that were locked
There
in?
was two other women in there, and one of those women was trying to comfort me and like, you'll be okay, kid. But yeah, the crimes that they got in trouble for with the killing and the cult killing was probably just, kind of like Epstein. Just you just hear a little bit of the story and not the whole story.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like that whole story was fabricated about him doing, like they may have done the killing, okay, but they built him up to be this horrible monster, but did they really put him in jail afterwards is the big question.
Um, I got an interview I just posted a few months ago of him,
Mhm.
and I had to post it because he's in there and he said, I have had all the money and power 2 or 3 times on paper. He said, he was saying, I've been totally rich on paper because, just like the two federal agents that had that stack of paper saying, look at what we made for killing my mom. And that rang with Charles Manson because he said he had the paper, he had the wealth, he had the Ferraris and the music studios, and he had all that.
Right.
And then he said, but it's the people at the top. And he said they don't care about the children. They're throwaway children. And he was talking about, the top, our government and how they're run.
Right.
So I had to post that because it rang so true with what he was saying.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean, it sounds like so he was known throughout Hollywood, and the federal agents knew who he was before the murders happened.
Oh, they use them. That's how they get away with. They want a crime done. They go to people like Charles Manson.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting because it sounds
Um,
like he was probably a patsy, and maybe that story isn't what we've been told.
yeah, I have no idea.
He's probably
I can't say because I wasn't there, but he was definitely at the top of organized crime within our government agencies.
okay, interesting.
Just the same way like John Gotti. John Gotti was protected by these federal agencies. Um, it's who they want to expose, and they gotta expose somebody. They can't just say, we're crime fighters, but we don't enforce anything. So they got to throw little things out there like Epstein and Charles Manson, and just to make themselves look. And these guys probably pissed off the organization,
Right.
just like John George when he was killed in that plane crash.
Right.
I'm thinking they wanted us all that day, but he pissed off the organization. He wouldn't have had any trouble, and I believe why he pissed off the organization because he killed Jackie Kennedy, the one the world knew. And Bill Clinton was the president of the United States, and Bill Clinton was like, "You don't kill my mistress like that and get away with it." That's
Right.
you know that's my. I don't have proof 100%, but that's I'm not stupid. I know intelligence games are really really good, but just by what I've heard and seen, he killed Jackie, his fake mom, for the money. And then Donald Trump and them all divvied it up.
Do you think Bill Clinton knew that she was a double, or did he
Oh,
think?
100%.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. So basically,
Yeah. I took a picture. Wayne had me take a picture of Bill Clinton and my mom on a yacht, not a yacht, but a nice boat. Um, Bill Clinton grabbed my mom's crotch that day, the fake Jackie anyway. He was trying to get down her pants right in front of everybody that day. But Wayne had me take a picture of them on the yacht with the American flag. But the picture that gets to me, and it's in the book I got, they are at the opening day of the JFK library. And Bill Clinton and my fake mom are sitting there almost in lip lock with you. You can look at both of them and say they're in love. You can see they're in love. And they made it public. But to me, what goes through my head when I see that picture of Bill Clinton and the Jackie Kennedy the whole world knew sitting there all looking like they're in love is at my father's opening ceremony of the library. And to me, they're saying, we got away with stealing billions of the Kennedy dollars. Look what we did. And
wow,
that's the smiles I see on their face.
right, right. Wow, that's crazy. So you think we'll call him the fake John, who we haven't talked about it in this video, but John, the one that the public knew that was on People magazine and the talk shows, was really, we think, Aristotle's illegitimate son, George. All right. So he had, he lived the good life. He was out there in the public eye, wealthy, handsome, all the good stuff, but he was really a bad guy underneath. He was really doing nefarious things to keep in the good graces of this um, crime family, if you will. And you think that he's the one that killed the fake Jackie.
Yeah, well, when I was with Wayne at her apartment, um, I'm pretty sure it's in the book. I'm not sure, but
It is.
she had said to Wayne, I think the kids or children, I can't remember if she said children or kids, but either way, had poisoned me at dinner.
Right.
And then she gets stomach cancer and later dies of, but poison, cancer,
Wow.
these doctors, how they work, and how they are, told what to do and everything. But to me, when somebody says they have been poisoned and then they end up dying of cancer, it was really poison. But her exact words that I heard myself was she thinks the kids had poisoned her.
Right. Right. Oh, we can't hear you anymore for no reason whatsoever. How interesting is that? Okay, need some help clearing the line, guys. Can you hear me, John? I can't hear you at all. Do you want to, we could get off this link and I'll send you another one and we can finish this? Let's try to do it. Okay, so everyone that's watching, come back in like 5 minutes. We're gonna hang up and try again because we've lost his connection.